You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It's happening. It is happening. I had to pinch myself several times. This is real. The Gritty Tigers advance. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. And the Gritty Tigers, against all odds, the improbable, the magical run continues. A 2-game sweep over the Houston Astros, and they are advancing to the ALDS to take on the Cleveland Guardians. My, oh my, in 100 years, I never thought I would be uttering these words on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I'm going to try to keep it together. No promises. If you're like me, you were probably screaming at the TV. The Andy Ibanez 3-run double in the 8th to break it open, and the Tigers get the win 5-2. Thanks, as always, for making Locked On Tigers postcast your post-game destination and your post-game playoff destination. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, on YouTube, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. And if you're Detroit Tigers fans, your team into the playoffs. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit, because we do this after every single game. And in the postseason, my, oh my, there's going to be postseason baseball at Comerica Park for the first time in a decade. It just feels amazing. I can't even believe it. I promise you we're going to get through today's show. But man, I was there yesterday. I was boots on the ground at Minute Maid Park, and today back in the home studio watching it on TV. And the Tigers, just when you thought the Gritty Tigers couldn't show any more resolve, any more resilience, they fall behind and they come back and get a win. We're going to break it all down, look at the ALDS, and talk about this magical run and take each and every one of your comments. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers postcast your post-game destination. And today's show is brought to you by Booking and Booking.com. Booking.yeah, that's right. Booking.com, Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. And hey, you probably used it in Houston, and now you can use it in Cleveland, because the Detroit Tigers are moving on. And today it was the pitching chaos day. 5-2 winners. We're going to go through this one and break it all down. How about Parker Meadows getting it started with the home run in the 6th inning to break a scoreless tie off Hunter Brown, which, shout out to Hunter Brown, Wayne State product, St. Clair Shores native, and a Tigers fan growing up. Hated to root against him, but had to today. And then in the 7th, this is where my phone was blowing up. You're probably thinking the same thing. The Tigers go with the 22-year-old top prospect in baseball, but just his 3rd major league appearance, Jackson Jobe, and he gets batted around a little bit. And you gotta feel for the guy, Jackson Jobe, because it got out of hand, and it felt like he wasn't necessarily. I want to say it wasn't necessarily his fault, but there was the hit batter. Okay, sure, he hits his first batter, the nerves are there, and then you have the bloop single. And then you have a bunt single, and all of a sudden the bases are loaded with nobody out. You get the ground ball to Torkelson, who at the time, and I still think it was the right play in between hop for Jake Rogers. You think Jake Rogers has got to make that catch at home to get the force, but still nobody out, bases loaded, the run scores. And then the go-ahead run was just kind of a bizarre play, pop up into foul territory. Vierling comes on strong, makes the catch, but I don't think he was anticipating the runner to break for home on the sacrifice fly. And it wasn't necessarily a major hesitation, but he had to get his feet right. It was a running catch at that, and the throw home just was not in time. Credit to the Astros. And all of a sudden, the place is going nuts. Like I said, I was there yesterday. They didn't have a lot to cheer about yesterday. They didn't today until that 2-run 7th inning. They take the lead. My phone's blowing up, and every Tigers fan knows who you are. You're saying, oh, the season's over. And I kept, you know what? I got on Twitter today. It all happens. We all get a little bit fired up in the moment, and you just can't count this Gritty Tigers team out, because What happens after that? Well, you come in, you get the double play, and credit to Guenther to come in and get that double play and limit the damage to just the one run, because the Gritty Tigers were right back at it. My goodness, the Cardiac Cats, whatever nickname you want to come up with. But that 8th inning, let's go through it. I mean, it makes the season, that 8th inning. You can't, it's honestly, it's the type of story that I've said this time and time again. It needs a documentary. Moment after moment, 30 for 30 writers, get ready, because this is the greatest story in baseball this year. So top of the 8th, you get Parker Meadows strikes out to end the inning. Carp gets it started with a 1-out single, then Vierling singles. Carp goes all the way to third. Now you're thinking, all right, first and third, 1 out. Let's tie this game up. You got to have a productive at bat, maybe a sac fly. I know that's what I was thinking. And it's the wild pitch that allows Carpenter to score. And that's where it started to unravel. Josh Hader on the mound. And you think, okay, wait a second. Or I'm sorry, it was Presley pitching. My fault. My mistake. Presley pitching. Hader was later on. And Hader came in later on, but Riley Green's at bat up next. He strikes out, even though the game had been tied with the wild pitch. Colt Keith draws a walk. So now you've got Spencer Torkelson batting with Hader on the mound. And Torque, you got to give him credit, because it goes down as a walk, but it loads the bases. And there were a lot of close pitches that it took a lot of patience and a lot of discipline at the plate not to swing at it. Torque draws the walk, and the bases are loaded for Andy Ibanez, the biggest hit of the season. Andy Ibanez, we know what he does to lefties. Clears the bases, 3 runs for the Tigers, and the Gritty Tigers were off and running, up 5-2 in the 8th, and they get the final 6 outs. Guenther pitches the 8th, and then you go to the 9th. You got Will Vesson, and just the 1, 2, 3 inning. And let the boys, the boys are partying as we speak. That's why we're a little bit later on to the postcast, because I wanted to watch them celebrate. You see Andy Ibanez get interviewed on ESPN after the game, AJ Hinch, and this is just the moment that makes such a magical season that much better, that much sweeter. What a run we are on. You got to pinch yourself a couple of times, because I'm screaming at the TV, I'm fist bumping, I'm breaking things, I'm shouting, I'm pacing, I'm biting fingernails, I'm biting kneecaps. It's just everything you could imagine in a playoff postseason roller coaster ride. So let's get to some of your comments. The Tigers are moving on. They sweep the Houston Astros. And I will say, when I was at Minute Maid Park yesterday, shout out to Tigers fans. They travel, man. There was Let's Go Tiger chants going on. If you missed our live Locked On Tigers postcast from a parking lot outside of Minute Maid Park, check that out. It's on the stream, or it's on the feed as well. Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you subscribe. Oh my goodness, there's so many comments to get to. We are going to do our best. Shout out to Curtis Seibert Jr. He's first up. I hope we beat Cleveland. I have family that lives in Ohio, and I want to hear their reaction if the Tigers beat them. Shout out James Gardner. No quit in the Cardiac Cats. Swipe the Tiger paw. Absolutely. Great stuff. There we go. Chris Hoyt was there for the Yankees series. Mariners and Giants rule changes last season brought me back to the game. This team has made me fall back in love. That's right. This is the type of team that makes you fall in love with baseball and with the Detroit Tigers. What a time to be alive, says Lauren Wagner. What a game. What a win. Dennis says, go Tigers. Soul Blaster. No one wants to touch our boys. We're unpredictable wild card. That's where we thrive. Ibanez is the MVP of this game. No doubt about it. That's a great point. I don't think anybody wants to play the Gritty Tigers right now. They are so hot and just making winning plays and playing winning baseball. I know we joke about it. AJ Hinch managing this like a chaotic, it's baseball chaos when it comes to the pitching. And I was talking with some Astros fans yesterday after the game. They said, oh, who's going to pitch tomorrow? And I said, it doesn't matter. We've been doing this for 2 months. AJ Hinch has essentially written the book on utilizing an effective bullpen with various openers, playing the different matchups, and the same with the position players, the timely pinch hitting. You can't even put together a playbook of what AJ Hinch, Chris Fetter, and the rest of the staff are doing to get the most out of this Tigers team and advance to the ALDS. It is incredible. Frank Hawthorne, Motor City Kitties. There we go. BC, good riddance. Trash Tros. Yeah, we're not going to talk too much smack, but yeah, it never hurts to see the Astros lose as well. Gritty Tigers will eat you up. Demetrius McNeil, he's a regular. Once upon a time, the Tigers were 10 games back, now heading to Cleveland to play the Guardians. I definitely like the Tigers' chances. There you go. I want to get to this from my guy, Jeff Rieger. This was some good insight. Tigers are headed to the ALDS. This is from Jeff Rieger. The end of the Astros' run of dominance. First pitch game 1 will be 1:05 on Saturday in Cleveland. And on October 9th, 1 week from today, for the first time in 3,657 days, playoff baseball returns to Comerica Park. Truly unbelievable. Just incredible stuff all the way around. AJ Hinch, manager of the year. Rufus T. Cat, roar of 2024. Padres versus Tigers 40 years later. Maybe. AJ has done an amazing job with this club. Indeed, he has. Aiden Runner says, who can't we beat? Carter Frayne says, let's go, Jake. Turn me up. Yeah, I am fired up. There is no doubt about it. Great stuff all the way around. And my goodness, Michael Schmidlin saying, I'm guessing Cleveland wanted to play the Astros. Well, they got us. That's right. They got the Detroit Tigers. Happy Wednesday. Yo. Everybody's feeling good. Woo. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to keep the lights on. We're going to continue to break this one down, look ahead to the Guardians series, and just continue to live it up because the Detroit Tigers are moving on to the ALDS after sweeping the Houston Astros. They get the win in this one, 5-2, the final, thanks to the 3-run RBI double from Andy Ibanez in a tie game in the 8th. Don't go anywhere. We're cruising right along on a Locked On Tigers postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right, FanDuel. We've been telling you all about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book and the official betting partner of Major League Baseball. And listen up, NFL fans. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. It all happens at FanDuel.com. It's so much more than just a sports book, but yeah, you can place your live bets there as well. Get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Live odds always available at FanDuel.com. I bet you not a lot of people pick the Tigers on FanDuel to move on to the ALDS. Well, guess what? They are. So don't take my word for it. Get in on the action. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet on FanDuel.com. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use that code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Now, how does Prize Picks work? It's very simple. Take 2 to 6 players and you simply pick more or less on a couple of their projected stat lines, and voila, you watch the winnings roll on in. It's that simple. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And guess what? You're not playing against 100 other sharks and other experts. No, it's just you versus the numbers, you versus the projections. And now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And you know Prize Picks is the best way to get on the action, available in over 30 states. That includes California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And you know what? The great thing about Prize Picks, they got the best promotion. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So don't take my word for it. Download the Prize Picks app today. Get in on the action and have yourself a ball and pick more or less. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, segment number 2. Going to do my best to try to get through this, but this is just wild. I mean, absolute insanity. The Detroit Tigers sweep the Houston Astros, 5-2 winners, and they are moving on to the ALDS to take on the Cleveland Guardians, a little AL Central showdown in the ALDS, and you just got to love it. Now, today's game, more chaos. You had Scoobo go yesterday, got a little dicey in the 9th inning yesterday, but the Tigers prevailed. Today, with the way this game started, and again, you look at the box score of this game, and if you're an Astros fan, you're scratching your head. Like, how did this happen? No score through or entering the 6th inning. Again, shout out to Hunter Brown, Detroit native, and St. Clair Shores guy, Wayne State guy. Got to give love to the D2 guys. But 5 2/3 for him, 1 earned run, and that last earned run was the last batter he faced. The home run from Parker Meadows. That made it 1-0 for the Tigers. Tyler Holton opened this game. He went 1 inning before giving up to Brendan Hanafy. And again, it was just, I saw someone use the analogy, and I apologize, I forget who, but death by a million paper cuts. That's what it's like playing this Tigers team. It's not one star. It's not, a big payroll. And Tarek Skubal is a star. So it's not like this team doesn't have a star player, but when you have an opening day like today, and as AJ Hinch affectionately refers to it as pitching chaos, it really is like a million paper cuts. They just keep coming at you. After Hanafy, it was Herter. A couple of clutch double plays in that as well. I think the defense until that inning that the Tiger, until that bottom half of the 7th inning, the defense was really good. Even in the 9th inning, great catch by Parker Meadows for the second out of the 9th inning, but he's so good. We just come to expect that from Parker Meadows. Then Bo Brisky was big in his inning and 2/3 of relief. And honestly, too, recapping the game this close to the finish, it's all a blur, and I might have blacked out a couple of different times, so apologies if and when I missed something. And then Jackson Jobe, we talked about in the opening, that's where things got away with the hit batter, bloop single, bunt single, ground out, pop up. So it's not like Jackson Jobe should be rattled and never want to pitch again. He's going to be just fine. And the defense could do more to help him out, I believe. But at the same time, this gritty Tigers team picked him up. That's what being a good team is all about. The offense picks up the defense. In the 1 inning, they let their guard down, and the offense just came roaring back, showed the resolve, showed the resiliency, and that's why this Tigers team is moving on. And then Will Guenther gets the win. Will Vest gets the save in the 9th, and you've got yourself a victorious Detroit Tigers team. Let's get back to some of the comments. I'm going to try to get to all of them. My apologies if I haven't. I'll be honest, self-producing. Like I said, when I was at the ticket, I had somebody hand me the ticket text and didn't have to scan through them all. That's not true. Some of those times when I was on late at night, I had to do this on my own. But that being said, don't take it personal. I apologize. But man, I appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. We got over 300 people watching. And when we first started these things, we'd have 5 people watching. So it's a shout out to every single fan that has made the Locked On Tigers postcast and Locked On postcast what it is today. All right, good friend of the program, I should say. I've been watching a lot of Pat McAfee. Adam, Andy Ibanez hits off Josh Hader. You're looking at the postseason MVP. Absolutely. Mary Jo Isaacson, my grandmother, at the game. Yeah, Tigers did it. Knew they would. On our way to Cleveland. Want to join us? Yeah, I do, Grandma. I want to get to Cleveland for sure. Oh, man, great stuff. Dan, the ups and downs this year of Jake Reitman on this show throughout the year is what makes life worth living. There you go. Live and die with this Tigers team. I agree. I mean, you guys were with me with shows. I always go back to the 4th of July show because I was sitting here thinking, Kenta Maeda just gave up 100 runs to the Twins. It's the 4th of July. I'm screaming into the microphone. Why am I upset? And there was a lot of other low moments. There is no doubt about it. Some of those late night West Coast games that, I think they got swept by the Angels sometime in July. And you're just thinking, what is this baseball team? And here we are. Here we go. So many clowns picked Houston to make the World Series. Yeah, sorry. All right. Long time listeners, first time watcher. There you go. All right. Shout out Michael. That's right. Partying in Idaho, says Kyler Jacobs. Yeah, everybody party everywhere. That's the great thing about the Locked On Tigers postcast and Locked On Sports Detroit is we are reaching everybody. As long as you got internet, man, you are welcome to the Locked On Sports Detroit. And shout out to Rolly in the comments. Turn on the super chat. We should get the super chats going. Take a page out of the old chat sports book. I don't know. Born Cool, you know them guards shaking in their boots right now. I agree. I don't think the Guardians want to play this Detroit Tigers team. I don't think anybody wants to play this Detroit Tigers team. And I made fun of the ESPN broadcast a couple of times. I don't think they were necessarily great. They had a lot of stats. Sure, Michael Kay and Tim Kircham and I think Todd Frazier is the third member of that broadcast crew. It's a national broadcast. They talk a little bit about the Tigers, but the one thing they did mention, the August 11th line of demarcation, where this Tigers team became the best team in baseball since August 11th, erased a 10-game deficit, had less than a 1% chance to make the postseason. Now here we are. All right, Joey Armstrong says, Battle of the Rust Belt, bring it on. There you go. Ed Wern maybe, who's going to Cleveland this weekend. Yeah, let us know if you're going to Cleveland, because we want to have that the Tiger Stampede and be loud and proud like they were in Houston. Because like I said, I was at the game yesterday, a lot of Tigers fan. There you go. Okay. So many other comments to get to. We're going to do that. We're going to look ahead to Cleveland. We're just going to keep living in the world that is the 2024 postseason, that has the Detroit Tigers victorious over the Houston Astros and on to the ALDS. So don't go anywhere. Keep it right here to Locked On Sports Detroit, and let's continue living this up because the Tigers are going on. They advanced the ALDS. They beat the Houston Astros. Bye-bye, Houston Astros. Hello, ALDS. Back in a moment on Locked On Sports Detroit. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast. We'll try that again. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by booking.com. Yeah, that's right. The booking.com. Now, make sure when you are traveling, you use the booking.com and booking.com app, booking.yeah, because the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball, and get the booking.com app. It's that easy. Listen, I think the Tigers fans would all agree that they're a fan of Houston now after how they just dominated that series with the sweep over the Houston Astros. And I bet you a lot of those fans use the booking.com app to book their stay. You can explore those U.S. cities you always wanted to learn more about. And up next for Tigers fans, Cleveland. That's right. The Mistake by the Lake. That's where the Tigers are heading now. You can find your hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on booking.com. I doubt Cleveland has any of those resorts, but you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city during the postseason, like I know Tigers fans are. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball competition stadium cuisine. Luckily, on booking.com, you can find the stadium stay that's right for you. With booking.com's wide variety of choice across the United States, you can go incognito to all your baseball rival cities and enjoy. Like I said, I was in Houston yesterday, used the booking.com app to get there, and voila, the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Book today at booking.com, booking.yeah. All right. I wish we could just stream all night because the Detroit Tigers are victorious. They're going on. It was the postseason. You got to love the postseason. I missed the slogan of "There's only one October" because there really is nothing like it. I mean, the Astros go ahead in that seventh inning. My stomach's doing flips. I'm mad. I'm feeling for Jackson Jobe, honestly, because I don't think he pitched bad by any means, but that gritty Tigers offense just wasted no time. They get it done in the eighth inning. The very next inning, they come back and say, "Not so fast. We got you, kid." They pick the kid up and they go and win. And Andy Ibanez with the 3-run double. I mentioned Torques at bat, Colt Keith, both drawing the walk. When Riley Green was up, it was a wild pitch. Kerry Carpenter getting it started with the single. Just total all hands on deck, because you look at this team and there is no superstar other than Tarek Skubal. So especially offensively, when you look at what this team did, I think the eighth inning is just perfectly exemplifies what this team is with guys, with Carpenter singling to begin, with Matt Vierling singling, with the walk by Colt Keith, the walk by Torkelson, and then Andy Ibanez with the bases clearing 3-run double. I mean, this Tigers team is one of those teams where you could pick a guy 1 through 9, and then don't forget everybody on the bench. Any of those guys on any given day can be the guy that comes through with the clutch hit. And that's just what makes this team so fun to root, easy to root for as well. And I think they've galvanized, obviously, the city of Detroit and the Motor City and everything that it means to this town, this state. But I think you're going to continue to see it even beyond that if this run continues, because they are a gritty bunch that is easy to root for. And the Jason Benetti line when they clinched, a city that doesn't care about the odds has a baseball team to match. That's just so perfectly, eloquently said. And you absolutely love it. All right. Lots of people to get into on the comments. All right. We got people upset that Jackson Jobe was put in that situation. And I think if the Tigers don't come back and win, that's obviously what we're talking about. Is it fair to put a 22-year-old kid who has 2 MLB appearances under his belt, 2, that's it, into a postseason position like that? Maybe not. Maybe that wasn't AJ's best move. That said, AJ Hinch has managed brilliantly, and there was a lot of second guessing with the Jackson Jobe move. And for that, again, I guess I understand, because it's a tough spot to put the kid in. And I just don't want the takeaway to be, oh, Jackson Jobe was terrible. I don't think he was terrible. I think it was the way that sometimes the games unravel for a pitcher, and it unraveled for him in a big way there in the 7th inning. But I think he'll be just fine. It wasn't like it was a home run after home run, shot after shot. It was just unlucky. And I know I don't necessarily love using that term as far as a pitcher being unlucky. That's why he gave up some runs, but I do think that was a case. Now, that said, I think this team from top to bottom embodies the spirit of Detroit, and nobody wants to play us. And I'm excited to see this team just continuing to roll along and bring on the Cleveland Guardians. Absolutely. All right, Michael, A20, Astros fan here. Congratulations. Tigers were the better team. Go win the World Series. I do have some Astros fans that were mentioning exactly that. All right, R1V4, I just wanted to explode on AJ and Jobe. Said, I'm done ranting on the Tigers for yes, even bummer as oops bias. There we go. All right. More to get to. Jason Walter, I'm freaking out, man. No, yeah, everybody's freaking out. Don't freak out too much. Oh, man, there's going to be a lot of Tigers fans in Cleveland. There we go. Sydney Carriel getting in. AJ Hinch was asked after the game on ESPN, what does it mean to you to be here and beat this team? Hinch said, isn't baseball great? Smiling ear to ear saying that, and then ran to the team. Baseball is, in fact, great. Jonathan, listening from Manchester, England. Let's go Tigers. Absolutely. Man, oh my gosh, David Jackson, I can't stop smiling. Yeah, I can't either. It is just insane. Whew. All right. I agree with this one. Put Jobe right back on the field if he's added to the divisional roster. I agree. Yep, he'll be right back with that, and I think he'll be just fine. All right, big deep breath, and I will try to filter through a couple of more comments here as we try to get in on everything going on with the Detroit Tigers. And shout out to my man, Micro Mike. Let's go. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. We got Benjamin in there. Scooble on Saturday. Oh, yeah, he'll be ready to go. There is no doubt about it. Cheers to Hinch's Tigers. Absolutely. AJ Clinch, because we clinched a second shot or a second round appearance in the ALDS. All right. Good stuff all the way around. And going to try to collect myself as we look ahead to the matchup with the Guardians. Obviously, a team we know very well. Scuba will go on Saturday. And the Tigers and Guardians, obviously, they play quite a bit. But when you look at the two teams matchup, they play a lot of close games, too. You know, I mean, this is a Guardians team that just like the Tigers, I think you could say certainly overachieved. I mean, they played 13 games this year, and Cleveland won 7, Detroit won 6. And, it's anytime you have a divisional opponent in the playoffs, you know everything about them. You know, it's going to be about the team that goes out and plays their best ball, executes well, and it comes up with timely hits. You know, that was something the Tigers struggled with, especially in game one, the 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. And today they got the big hit. That's kind of all that matters. They did enough. We always talk about it. You don't have to draw a picture on the scoreboard or on the column. It just has to be a W and you move on. That's what playoff baseball is all about. The Tigers were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position today, but that big one, the 3 RBI double from Ibanez. So Andy Ibanez gets the big hit. The Tigers knock the Astros out of the playoffs. Their dominance comes to an end, and the Detroit Tigers are moving on. The best story in baseball. What a pleasure it's been. Thanks so much for subscribing to Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you're checking out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley, Locked On Lions with Matt Derry, and we've got Locked On Pistons coming up as the regular season is almost getting set, or the preseason, I should say, is right around the corner. Locked On Pistons as well. We'll have Locked On Pistons postcast, and I got to double check, make sure I got everything set with the Locked On Pistons, but that's with Cool Khalil. Make sure you're checking that out as well. Locked On Wolverines postcast, Michigan and Washington on Saturday. We'll have a Locked On Wolverines postcast for you Saturday night. All good stuff on Locked On Sports Detroit. But the main story, the Detroit Tigers, the gritty Tigers, the cardiac cats, moving on to face the Cleveland Guardians. My name is Jake Rietma. Do me a favor, follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. And as always, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. Tell a friend, like the video, and go ahead and share the video as well. I'm going to read every single comment on here, but we are out of time. Thanks so much for tuning in, and let's just keep it rolling. Tigers and Guardians, game 1 on Saturday. Can't wait for that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Go Tigers, as Jared Goff says. Go Tigers. There we go.